What's up, y'all? Welcome back. Idiot Fitness Live every Sunday, 12 Eastern. Here we are. Today we're talking about fat loss and a whole lot of mistakes that a lot of people make, including us.
But first, update.
Update.
So several of our athletes just started their contest prep. So they are switching from either maintenance or bulking to cutting. And that was one of the reasons we dropped the cutting video and how to set up your macros for fat loss this week.
Oh, yeah.
So if you haven't had a chance yet to check out that video, it is absolutely a must. Go ahead and click on it.
Absolutely. Don't miss the macro video. We got a lot of requests for it, and it turned out great. So full information, check her out.
Yeah, I think we even showed exactly what me and James ate for an entire day and how we even established where to start with our macros to shed the body fat. So today we're going to continue on with that topic. So for those of you that are listening, if you are shifting into a fat loss or a cutting phase of your journey, we want to definitely share some tips and some insights with you because believe it or not, there's definitely some nuances and things with counting macros and accounting for all your food. And if you have any misstep in that area, it can really take away from your progress. So hopefully you can learn from our lessons and the mistakes that us and our clients have made over the years and be right on track.
And some of these are hidden mistakes. Man. If you aren't enlightened, you will never catch these mistakes. It's some of them are pretty deep.
Absolutely.
Some of them are easy. Some of them aren't.
And definitely as we go through today's topic, if you have other questions completely unrelated, go ahead and drop us a comment and we'll answer that in real time. That's why we're here for you. So whatever questions you have, just hit us with them.
Fire away.
All right. So first things first, hopefully you watched our video so you know you had to do the 3-day diet journal to really establish the baseline of where you were at. And then from there, you took away a couple hundred calories and whatnot. So for you to even do that, that meant you had to count macros. So hopefully you downloaded some kind of macro tracking app. And there's so many. I personally like MyFitnessPal. I think that's probably the most common one, but there's others for sure.
There's plenty of them out there. Just make sure it's free. There's too many of them out there that are free to pay for one.
Absolutely. So the first things first, how do you measure your food properly? I think this is probably the one area where there's so much room for error that you really need to take the time to learn it. And if you're not sure, there's so many videos out there, you can definitely take a look at it. But first things first, most people are using some type of food scale as they measure. Yeah. And it's kind of important to notice, usually there's a unit measurement button on there. And so this can switch from grams to fluid ounces to regular ounces. And y'all, there's a reason there's different categories. And this is something that probably takes some time. I know I've probably used fluid ounces when I should have been using ounces or vice versa. But in general, the gram setting on the food scale is really for weighing solid foods. So your meats, your grains, vegetables, all of those should be measured in grams. The only caveat would be, if you're measuring a big bowl of chicken in bulk, you probably don't want grams. But if we're talking about a single serving of chicken, you can weigh out your 100 grams of chicken and know precisely what that is.
If you're not weighing it, you don't know.
Yeah, you have to know. And I will tell you what, when you start measuring these foods, you're like, whoa, that's it? I should be able to eat way more chicken or steak or whatever it is than I actually am. So basically you weigh the food and then you can input that directly into your fitness tracking app. And usually if you click on the item in the app, you can change what the units are. So, if the item doesn't have grams, you can usually switch to ounces or something like that to make it easy. Now fluid ounces, hence the word fluid, is for anything that you're measuring liquid. So definitely if you're measuring liquid, fluid ounces or, grab a measuring cup. Yeah. So measuring cups are great for any time you're measuring milk, juices, oils, any other type of liquid. You definitely wouldn't necessarily want to measure grams or ounces. definitely fluid ounces or measuring cup.
It gives you the heads up, yeah. Fluid.
Yeah.
Fluid ounces.
So yeah, if you're mixing that protein shake and you're using almond milk, like go ahead, set your shaker on the scale and then hit the fluid ounce button on it. Too easy. And then there's regular ounces. So regular ounces will work both for solids or semi-solid foods. So definitely like your main proteins, or maybe you have something that's kind of like mixed with another ingredient, you would use ounces. And usually I use ounces anytime I'm measuring something pretty heavy, if that makes sense. So pretty simple. I mean, these scales, you can get one for $10 on Amazon. They're not expensive anymore. So definitely invest in that if you don't have one.
Yeah. If you are a competitor and you don't have a food scale, you're losing. Your competition has a food scale and they are precise with every meal.
I'll tell you what, our former sponsored athlete, Samantha Harris, we were backstage and I think I had let her eat like 4 ounces of chicken in between prejudging. She had a little mini scale. It was like the cutest thing I ever saw. It was like this big. And she's got the little baby plate and she's measuring the chicken. I was like, I love you. You are like perfection when it comes to being a competitive athlete.
You're serious. You're serious. Miguel, our current 88 athlete, takes his scale to the restaurant.
Yeah.
And weighs his food at the restaurant before he eats it. Make sure it's the right size, the right portion.
It's intense. And I'll tell you what, after doing this consistently for a while, you are able to have like that good eye kind of visual look. Like you'll start to realize what 4 ounces versus 8 ounces of meat or something looks like. So it does help you once you are like away from your kitchen or you don't have your scale.
In a pinch.
Yeah. So the next big thing that people ask us about is like, all right, so I'm measuring my chicken. Do I measure raw or do I measure cooked weight?
Good question.
This is a good question. So the by the book answer is raw. And a lot of people are like, what? But when the FDA has all the nutrition facts on the back, it is telling you the nutrients for the raw weight of the item. So a lot of times as you cook the protein, there's variations in the prep method, and you might, if there's water, it might evaporate and kind of shrink down, taking away some of that weight for the product.
Most meat's going to shrink down.
Yeah. So the number one way to measure it, or the most precise, is raw. But I'll tell you, from a practical application standpoint, that is not convenient. Like if you are prepping food in bulk and then trying to partition it out, it's too difficult to measure the raw weight. So my recommendation, this is just Camille's opinion, is to just use the cooked weight. And honestly, it doesn't really matter as long as you always use the cooked weight. You can't flip-flop between raw and cooked, but if you always use the cooked weight, then really we're just taking calories and macros away through, diet manipulation over time, and it doesn't matter. It kind of equals out at the end of the day.
Pick one, stick with it.
Right. So, but yeah, that's definitely one that will trip people up, like, especially if they're cooking like salmon. That's kind of easy. You can measure that and know what a portion is. But if you're like cooking 3 pounds of chicken or ground turkey and then trying to divide it out into bowls, it's way too difficult to do that way. So just keep that in mind. Pick one and then move on. I'm glad to see so many people online. Again, if you're just joining us, if you have any other questions, please fire them away. We're here to answer them for you. But if not, we will keep going through the prepared content. So another thing, and this is a fun one, is unexpected sources for sugars and calories, y'all.
Yeah.
I mean, just the society and industry in general is so good about trying to mask and hide calories and sugars. Like, shame on them, right? One really unexpected source is vitamins. And you're probably like, what? Yep. They're vitamins.
Yep.
But the problem is most vitamins in pill form are nasty. So what did, everyone do? They made gummy vitamins.
Not only gummy vitamins, vitamin water.
Yeah.
Look at the labels of those, y'all.
Right.
I guarantee you there is sugar, carbs, and calories in your vitamins. Your vitamin
Absolutely.
Water, your gummy vitamin.
Definitely your gummies.
Your Flintstone vitamin. If it's anything other than a regular vitamin,
right,
it has calories.
So I remember I had an athlete once and we were kind of stuck, not able to lose weight. And then I started kind of peeling away, and it turned out that they had introduced some new vitamins after we had already kind of started the contest prep. And the vitamins they introduced were gummy vitamins. So what they didn't realize is they were eating about, it was like 10 grams of carbs just coming from all of the vitamins they were taking. And because that was something new that they had introduced and we didn't account for that, it had stalled the progress a little bit there.
My man, Chris Viscon right there. He said he tracks his multivitamins. They got 5 grams of carbs. He's already on it. Way to go, Chris. Good
Absolutely.
job.
Most of the time you can search them in your fitness app and put them right in. Or other times there's like a manual setting. You can just on paper add it up and then put that in there. But yeah, that's a number one, I think, item that really shocks people. And they're like, what?
So you got vitamin C chews. You got cranberry drops. You got all these gummies that are supposedly healthy, and they do have vitamin C in them, but they're encased in sugar.
Yeah. So definitely switch to the pill forms and then read the bottle. Make sure you're still good. Just something to consider. All right. So another source is toothpaste.
Yeah.
This tells us how serious our athletes are. Like when they come back and they're like, "Oh no, coach, my bottle of toothpaste has sugar in it."
Check your toothpaste, y'all. I will bet you money there's carbs in your toothpaste. No, you're not supposed to eat it. No, you're not supposed to swallow it, but I guarantee you are.
You know, it's funny though, right? Because sometimes in contest prep, you're so hungry. I remember, I forget why we had it. We had this like watermelon kit flavored toothpaste. And I remember I was just like 2 weeks out from the stage and I was like, why am I brushing my teeth for so long? I'm like, this is good. So yeah, I mean, really, that's not that big of a deal. I'm sure no one's swallowing massive loads of toothpaste. But again, the point is anything you consume, like anything you put in your mouth, you need to be looking at the label. So that's why we just bring up the toothpaste thing.
We got another question from our man, Commando Slayer.
That's right.
Thanks for tuning in, bro. Said I had a cramp on my forearm after intense workout. Is there any way to prevent them? If not, how should they be treated? Great question. The traditional, answer is water and potassium will prevent cramps. But a lot of times you're going to get them from an intense workout, even if you're hydrated, even if you have potassium. The best thing to do is let it rest, let it unlock, stretch it out, ice it afterwards, after it's unlocked. I haven't had a forearm one. That's interesting.
I haven't.
Ab cramp has got to be the worst. If you ever get an ab cramp, oh my goodness, they are awful. It's just pain until that thing unlocks.
Right.
And all you can do is wait it out.
I have a lot of clients too that will get calf cramps after training training legs pretty heavily. Like, and it usually happens overnight.
Yep.
They're like flexing the toes in their sleep or something like that.
Wake up with
so yeah, definitely stretch, stay hydrated. Adding some potassium to your diet can help as well.
As long as it doesn't happen all the time or often, you're fine. It's just going to happen randomly from a super intense workout. It happens sometimes.
Which is good. Good on you for having those intense workouts.
That's right.
All right. So more unexpected sources. Gum. That's a huge one.
Sugar-free gum has calories, y'all.
Yeah, it does. It's not many. And a lot of people will say, well, aren't I burning calories just by like the jaw action of chewing? And the answer is
correct.
Yes.
You have to chew that piece of gum for 10 minutes to burn those 5 calories. We looked it up.
I don't know about y'all, but I'm usually not chewing on the same piece of gum after 10 minutes. I'm usually like, oh, it's been 2. I want a new piece. And that's where those extra calories and sugar from the gum get you hemmed up, because you're like, next thing you know, you got a whole pack that you've consumed in a day.
Yep.
The breath mints is another one. Like, I love those wintergreen lifesaver mints, but there's like 20 calories a bit. And it's funny, like in my office, we probably go through like a half a bag. My team loves those. I'm like, hey guys, come on, we got to pump the brakes or get the sugar-free ones, because you guys are just consuming way too much sugar from breath mints. They have a breath mint problem. I'm telling you, it's pretty funny. But
at least nobody's breath stinks. Hey,
absolutely. And then another.
come to your job.
Yeah,
Nobody's breast
it's
steaks
super
over
minty
there.
in there. Another one is food seasonings.
That's a big one.
You know, if you look at the back of your McCormick's or whatever you're using to sprinkle on there, there's, you know, depending on what it is, there's definitely sugar. Like any type of like maple hickory or brown sugar bourbon.
Yep.
Like the ones that taste really good usually have some type of sugar in there.
You think you're good with a rub, a spice rub, but check the label. Check the label. A lot of them got sugar. A lot of them got carbs in there.
I mean, not to mention if you're using a liquid marinade. Like if you are lathering your meat in barbecue sauce, that sauce counts. It's not cooking off.
Depending on the barbecue sauce, you might as well just spread sugar on your meat. You know, put a little ketchup with your sugar.
Yeah. So definitely keep the seasonings in mind. You know, even McCormick's and the other popular ones, they definitely make ones that don't have added sugars.
Yep.
One of my
added sugar ketchup.
Yeah, one of my favorite brands of seasoning is Flavor God. I don't know if you just heard about or if you've heard about them or not, but they have a whole line of savory ones. And then they even have a line of dessert toppers. I think they just came out with 2 new flavors. It's Cold Stone Creamery inspired, like cheesecake and something else. So really fantastic. You know, you get that flavor without the added calories and sugar. So keep that in mind.
Pay attention to the serving size.
Yes. Yeah, you can't put like a half a bottle of seasoning on whatever it is.
The serving size is all less than 1. So if you do more than 1 serving of that powder flavoring, it's going to go up and creep up and creep up. So check your serving size.
Absolutely. And don't think for a second you can't put seasonings in your fitness app. If you type in Old Bay or something, like it absolutely has the macros for it plugged in there. So definitely take a look at it. And then the last hidden source, and this one gets everybody, it's cooking oils and sprays. Yep. If you're putting that tablespoon of cooking oil in your pan before frying up your meat, or you're spraying, you know, cooking spray or olive oil spray on some roasted vegetables, it absolutely counts.
Yes.
So I think the myth is that it cooks off. But the problem is the oil actually absorbs into the food as you cook it. And so whatever's actually absorbed in the food, you're getting those calories.
100%. If it says oil, it's fat, yeah.
Yeah. So
fat has calories.
Definitely take that into consideration and add it into your tracking app as calories. Absolutely. All right, so that was a lot of hidden things, but what about foods where you kind of know there's sugar and calories in them? Sometimes I don't think you realize they're as bad as they are, or maybe they're kind of like hidden traps. So we're going to go through some of those for you guys.
It's a trick with the label, with the industry, the food industry, the grocery industry, whatever you want to call it. They'll say no fat or low fat, but turn the label around and it's loaded with sugar.
Yeah, that's a big one. So low-fat yogurts. Anytime you have low-fat anything, there's sugar. And then anytime you have low sugar or sugar-free, there's usually fat because you need sugar and fat to make things taste good, y'all.
Yes. Whoever's hitting them likes, we love you. Keep them coming, baby.
So definitely turn around and check the label if you're trying to like limit your fat or limit your sugar. And this is what happens. A lot of people, if they're trying to put their food in the fitness app and hit a certain gram of fat, sometimes they're like, man, I'm 20 grams over. How can I make it match? Well, that's the answer. Ditch some of the fat-free stuff, or I'm sorry, the sugar-free stuff, and go for regular stuff. It'll be lower in fat. Yep. So it's an easy way to manipulate it. Or if you're like, hey, I need more fat, well, then you could do the opposite. Go for the sugar-free things because they're going to be more fat. Yeah. So
if y'all remember Muscle Milk, it might still be around.
It's still around.
Muscle Milk, when it came out, I worked at Gold's Gym and everybody was drinking them like, this is so good. And I was one of them. And then I read the label and said, holy smokes, this thing's loaded with fat.
Yeah.
No wonder it tastes so good. That's going to be my last Muscle Milk.
You know what else it's loaded with? Potassium. Fairlife, Muscle Milk, all of them, there's like 800 milligrams of potassium in it.
Did not know that.
So if you need potassium, definitely grab one of those like RTDs. Another item is barbecue sauce and
We
ketchup.
talked about that one.
Like, yeah, we already talked about that, but like a normal serving of ketchup has 4 grams of sugar in it. Like, it's intense. I know James and I personally have switched to the Heinz no sugar added. Comment there. I guess Kylie watched our video and I had a comment about the beets, James's favorite superfood.
Yep. The macro video again. If you
Yes.
haven't seen it, that's a reference to the macro video. Check it out. There's beets in it, and Camille loves them.
Anyways,
Thank you for the comment,
so
guys.
yeah, we switched to the Heinz no sugar added, and it takes a little getting used to at first because it's a little more like vinegar based or something.
Yep,
But
that's
now,
exactly what it is.
yeah.
More vinegar based, but I like it more than the sugar one now.
Now when we eat the sugar one, I'm like, holy moly, this thing is loaded with sugar. Like, I can taste it when I go to the restaurant and have normal ketchup. Yeah. Fruit juice, that should be a given. I mean, man, you really need to look at your fruit juice and ask yourself why you're having that. Exactly. And if you are going to drink it, look for ones that are 100% fruit juice and don't have added sugar.
I'm going to give you a stat here. And number one, you shouldn't drink juice. Just throw it out. The number one cause for childhood diabetes is fruit juice. Mm-hmm. Number one cause, because it's loaded with sugar. Look at the label of your juice.
Right.
It might not even have fruit in it. If you read the label,
not.
It's just sugar. And unfortunately, mm-hmm. people think it's fruit, it's healthy, but it is the number one cause for childhood diabetes, yo.
I mean, even as an adult, anytime you go to any type of breakfast restaurant establishment, they're going to try to give you some kind of apple juice, orange juice. Y'all, just get a coffee, get a water, skip the juice. Like, think of how many carbs you're going to eat just eating out for breakfast. You definitely don't want to drink a glass of it. I'd rather eat a stack of pancakes. I'm just saying.
I agree. I haven't bought juice in 20 years. Every once in a blue moon, I'll have it on vacation. But
that's about it.
I don't drink juice.
Yeah. Another really hidden source is sports drinks and energy drinks.
Yeah.
Y'all, there's no excuse, man. There's so many like low sugar, no sugar added, sugar free. So definitely read the can. Like, if you're one that's like, hey, I don't want the sucralose or whatever, then just forego the sports drinks.
It's that easy.
Yeah.
You know, they came out and they got a bad rap because they are loaded with sugar. They said they're so unhealthy. Energy drinks are unhealthy. Well, if you get the sugar-free kind, they're not that unhealthy. They're pretty much like black coffee. You can drink them without getting the insulin spike and without getting the sugar. And it's actually a fat burner. If you get one that's calorie-free and sugar-free, it spikes your metabolism, so they're not that bad. But if you get the one that's loaded with sugar, I mean, we're talking they got 40, 50 grams of sugar in there.
That's a lot.
That's 50 of those little packs of sugar in one of those monsters, y'all. So there's no excuse, like Camille said. There's absolutely no excuse to be drinking a sugared energy drink whatsoever.
Definitely. And then another one is just breads and breakfast cereals, especially the breakfast cereals. All the children's ones in particular are very high on the glycemic index, like very high, y'all. So you probably don't want those. You probably want the ones like your parents and grandparents used to eat, like, I don't even know, your Wheaties and whatever, not the frosted kind.
Cheerios.
Yeah, so definitely look for whole grains and the ones that don't have added sugars to them.
Great question, Michael. He said, I drink lots of skim milk. Is milk sugar okay? So milk sugar is lactose. That's what his milk sugar is. Is it bad? It's calories, but it's not as bad as fructose or sucrose. So you're going to get the sugary, and you're drinking skim milk, so it's fat-free. So you're already doing yourself a favor there.
Right.
I would go with skim milk. You know, you get protein in it.
Right.
It's much better option than fruit juice, which is just empty calories. So you're getting a protein drink. You are getting a little bit of sugar with the lactose. Just make sure you track it. Track your calories, track your carbs, track your sugar. And with skim milk, you're already ahead of the game.
Right. Yeah, it depends, like, too, like, why are you drinking the skim milk? For us, it was usually because we're trying to mix it with a protein shake, give it a little better taste or something like that. So we're really not trying to get grams of fat through milk. But there is a lot of
if I'm balking,
Yeah, you're
I
doing
will
whole
drink
milk.
right?
Yeah.
If I'm balking, I'll drink milk just for the extra calories, the extra protein, etc.
If you're cutting, I don't know about the whole milk. You should probably go skim milk or almond milk or something like that.
Yeah. I rarely will ever drink milk in a cut.
Yeah, that was a great question, but
very good question.
Another thing too, like with the yogurts and milk, avoid flavoring in there. So if like, you know, you want chocolate milk or something, make your own. Or if you want strawberry flavored yogurt, add some fresh fruits and maybe like blend them up to make a puree. Anytime you're having those added flavors in, there's usually added sugars related to them. So just keep that in mind.
Right. We just talked about flavor gods, y'all. They do have a chocolate donut flavor.
Oh, it's awesome too.
If you want chocolate milk, you got a 0 calorie, 0 carbs, or everything. Add that chocolate donut to your milk.
My favorite one is they have like a pumpkin pie spice. Yeah. So I like putting that in my protein shake in the fall. Another
get your pumpkin spice protein shake.
Pumpkin spice. I'm ready for pumpkin spice season. It's not even summer really.
I'm ready for summer to be over, so I'm with you.
One last thing to mention is just high sodium foods. So soy sauce is really high in sodium, y'all. Really high. And so are certain seafoods, especially shrimp.
Old Bay. Really high in sodium. Yeah. We're from Maryland. They put Old Bay on everything around here. Yes. So beware. Old Bay is very high in sodium.
So the reason I bring this up, like, yes, you should monitor what your sodium intake is as you are going about, you know, trying to be healthy. But let's say that you are working with a coach and you have to do like weekly weight check-ins. Well, if you all of a sudden put a bunch of soy sauce on like your salmon or eat like a giant bowl of shrimp, you are going to probably hold water because your sodium potassium balance is out of whack. And so what happens is, and this, I just had an athlete do this, even though I always tell them, like, please don't eat seafood or like soy sauce 2 days before you give me your weight. They ate it and then poof, they're all bloated. They're like, I went up a pound. What happened? Oh my God, I gained fat. I'm like, no, you didn't gain fat. You ate seafood and soy sauce. So just something to keep in mind.
All right, we got a couple comments, excuse me. D-Rod79 say, hey, he's from Virginia. All right. We are neighbors, baby. And then I'm going to mess up your name. I apologize. Diogenes Reborn. Don't forget fish oil. Very good point. Fish oil, y'all. We said oil is fat. So guess what? Your fish oil supplements do have calories.
Right.
Good catch. Good catch. I believe my fish oils are 12 calories each.
Right.
By the way. And I probably take 6 a day.
Right.
So that adds up. Very good point. I'm glad you brought that up.
Absolutely. So, yeah, so keep all of that in mind. We do have some additional tips for you guys, just things to look out for. One of them is to beware of keto products. Oh, man, like I have had clients come in like, hey, I've been eating these tortillas. Like they're only like, I don't know, 50 calories and they don't have carbs. I'm like, stop right there.
Yep. So
they have carbs.
This should be illegal. I don't know why it's not, but they're taking the fiber and subtracting it out of the carbs, and that's what they're putting on the label.
Right.
Those fibers are carbs and they are calories. Right. They should not be subtracted from the label. I don't know how they get away with it. It shouldn't be legal.
If you guys don't believe us, you can do the math. So 1 gram of carbs is 4 calories. 1 gram of protein, 4 calories. 1 gram of fat, 9. So if you do read the back, do the math, I guarantee you the number you get for overall calories will not match what they have shown. Like they have absolutely subtracted the fiber from the carbs.
The numbers aren't numbering. Something's wrong. They subtracted the fiber out of the carb count, which should not be even legal.
Right. So it doesn't matter how long it takes to digest that fiber. At the end of the day, it's still carb. It needs to be tracked as a carb.
Absolutely. You still ate it. You still consumed it. you're still going to get the carbs from it.
So the thing that hems people up is that some of the tracking apps are pretty advanced, and there's a setting. It's like a keto setting. So they will automatically do that subtraction for you. So you're eating all these carbs. Like my client was like, yeah, I ate like 10 of those wraps today. I was like, whoa, like, what do you weigh? Because like you just ate like, 100 carbs.
They got us for a while. The keto wraps got us for a while.
And those legendary Pop-Tarts. Those legendary Pop-Tarts got us. Man, they're good. They have like 20 grams of protein, but they have a crap ton of carbs in them. So definitely track or look at your fitness app settings. Make sure you don't have the keto setting on there. And then the other thing that you just need to be aware of, because they already did that subtraction when they posted the amount of calories, your overall calories for the day is probably not going to be accurate. But if you look at the actual breakdown of the macros, the carbs, the protein, the fat, that will be accurate.
Yep.
So that brings me to my next point. You do have to be careful in the tracking apps. They're either good at tracking calories or tracking individual macros, but they're not good at doing both because of a rounding thing that happens in there. Yep. So what I tell my clients is to focus on your macros, not the overall calorie count. So what will happen is sometimes the client's like, oh, well, I hit all my macros, but I still had calories left, so I ate. I'm like, well, whoa, wait a minute. Like that means you went over on your macros. Or the opposite will happen. Like their calories will be at the 1,800 that they're supposed to eat for the day.
But they're under on the macros.
But they're under on the macros. So it never quite works out. So you have to pick one way. And if you're going to pick one way, make sure you track to the macros.
Yep.
So regardless of what the calorie number says for the day, you want to make sure the macro numbers match what your intention is.
Just make sure it matches up. A lot of them round up, round down. They'll be, if it's very close, don't sweat it.
Right.
But if it's way off, something's wrong.
Right.
And D-Rod said those keto products are sneaky. Yes, they are.
So are.
I don't think that labeling should be legal, yo. It shouldn't be legal. It's completely deceptive, and it's a marketing ploy to try to get you to buy the crap and make you think you're not eating the carbs that you're actually eating.
Absolutely.
Shouldn't be. It makes me mad.
It does. Another tip for you is tasting your food during cooking. Like, man, how many of us are like making that bomb chili, and you're just like, let me taste it. Let me taste it. Well, depending on how much tasting you're doing, you ate a whole serving. So definitely keep that in mind. Like maybe if you're cooking something, have your kid come over and be like, hey, does this taste right? Or just use your instinct. I mean, more than likely you've made whatever this is multiple times, or you just have to trust the recipe that you're using. But definitely if you're pre-contest, you cannot taste your food. Like you have to stop and not do that.
Yeah.
Anything else on that one?
We haven't talked about fruit yet. You got to watch your fruits as well. I mean, people have the idea of thinking eating fruit is healthy. All I'm going to eat is fruit and lose weight.
Right.
Well, I've had a lot of people come up to me and say, all I'm eating is fruit and I'm gaining weight, James. What's going on here? I'm eating so healthy.
Sugar nuggets.
They are. Read the label. I was shocked when I looked at how much sugar was in raisins, y'all.
We actually have a thing of raisins here. So let's see. There's 26 grams of raisins in a serving. Man, I don't know about you guys, but like when I was a child, there was those little box of Sun-made raisins and they were always in my lunchbox. Man, my parents were feeding me sugar nuggets.
You think it's healthy because it's a fruit, but man, they're just loaded with sugar. And we got another comment. Chris Viscon, thank you, sir. One of those Mission low carb wraps is 20 carbs on nutrition label. But on the front of the package, it's 2 grams of net carbs, keto certified. That is exactly what we're talking about. Thank you for confirming it, Chris. There's 20 carbs in this thing, but the front of the freaking package says 2 net carbs. They're subtracting the fiber out of the carbs, which they shouldn't do.
Right.
It's deceptive and should be illegal.
Absolutely.
Thank you for that example. That's one more example of getting deceived by the keto label.
Definitely. All right, probably the last thing I have for you guys is artificial sweeteners. So now when it comes to artificial sweeteners, you got to exercise a little bit of caution. So while they're providing you sweetness without calories, some people may experience like negative or adverse effects when it comes to increase, eating these products. Good example, I had a client getting ready for a show and, they get pretty hungry. So she was eating a lot of sugar-free Jello. I mean, probably like 5 or 6 of those little cups a day. And so what happened is like our weight loss stalled. Like she had introduced the sugar-free Jello and all of a sudden we couldn't lose weight. And I was like, you know what? I've heard in some cases that people's bodies actually perceive the sugar-free substance as actual sugar, and it causes them to gain weight or like their metabolism to kind of crash.
It causes the insulin spike, which is the same thing sugar does, because even though it's artificial sweetener, it's not supposed to do that. For some people, you still get the insulin spike and then the crash. And when it crashes, your body just holds fat.
Right. And I'm telling you, it was crazy. Like as soon as we cut that sugar-free Jello out, bam, she lost like 3 pounds that week. And she was like, all right, lesson learned.
Yeah. And if you're deep into prep and you lose 3 pounds in 1 week,
that's huge.
That is
huge. I mean, same thing with like the diet sodas. I know like when I get to be about 4 weeks out, I just don't even risk it. In fact, I pretty much cut all artificial sweeteners out of my diet where I can, just in case, right? I definitely don't want to hold any weight or get additional cravings.
Sure.
A lot of times when you're eating sugar-free things, it just makes you crave sweets even more.
It does. And that's the insulin spike again.
Right.
It makes you want it more. Artificial sweeteners, I think they're okay. Just don't overdo them.
Yeah.
If you overdo them, or if you're sensitive and you get the insulin spike, it's going to make you crave more sweet stuff, stay away from them.
Absolutely.
If you can do it within reason, it's a good substitute. But if you're eating 6 or 7 sugar-free Jellos, that's way too much, y'all.
Absolutely. Well, hopefully you guys learned some tips.
Yes.
I mean, everything we've talked about, we've either made the mistake or it's something that our clients have made the mistake.
It's all been real life experience in this talk right here. We didn't come up with any fake examples on this one.
No, in fact, when our clients get ready to prep for a show, like we'll usually email them this whole list of like, hey, take into consider, and they're like, whoa, like really all these things? And we're like, yes, because it's mattered to somebody out there and mess them up. So if you're looking to cut off that fluff for the summer, definitely be mindful of all these things we talked about.
Yep. Thanks for everybody that tuned in, everybody that commented. We appreciate you taking your time, checking us out today. I guess we're going to close it out. You good?
Yeah, just a reminder, we are traveling the next couple of weekends, so we're going to attempt to go live on the road.
Yeah.
But hopefully that goes well.
One of the destinations is in the mountains, so we might not have service, but we're going to try. We're going to try to go live from the road next week. So check us out. We'll be traveling. We'll be on the road, but we're still going to go live.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you guys next time. Appreciate you.